Do you remember the Great Pie Fight of 1979, very last day of camp?
No, that was 1980. 1980, last
Was
day
it?
of
I
camp.
thought it was
And
1979.
it was lunchtime. It was lunchtime. I was head waiter. It was lunchtime. We had a very funny kitchen crew, just great folks. And what we did is we loaded up 3 of the rolling pie and bread carts, and we took one of them at the end of lunch, and we rolled them out into the dining hall, and we rolled one of them out to the staff so that they would have some arms in the great pie fight. But meanwhile, the kitchen had 2 stacks of rolling bread pans full of whipped cream in aluminum pans, aluminum pie plates, and we proceeded to fling those at each other across the,
So this was a kitchen staff against the regular staff,
regular
right?
staff, and oh, did we have a good time. For 15 minutes there was mayhem, heaving whipped cream, harmless, light whipped cream pies at each other, but we had provided them with some arms as well, and they were chasing people, and of course the whipped cream got all over the dining hall, all over the porch outside. Oh, what a fight.
Who instigated that? Whose idea was that?
It's tough to say whose idea it was. I would argue that I probably had a say. Mike Walker and Andy Higgins, and maybe some of the Neiman brothers. There was Phil Neiman and oh boy, the Neimans. But they could have been involved. We just had quite a crew. Ron Weaver was in there as well. Excuse me, Ron McGuire was the baker at the time. And I think it probably was Andy Higgins, myself, and several of the kitchen staff that were just great sports. Steve Fay was in the kitchen, and you had Gary Tillotson, and Pete Brazo was head of the kitchen. They are all such good nature and a really good crew, and yet had a really good relationship with the staff, that everybody could take it in good humor. And meanwhile, I was at the end of 9 weeks and had really had it with the whole job.
I've got a good follow-up for that. One that was a great compliment to that particular episode, and one that was not such a great compliment. Were you there when Don Schellenberger walked in after the pie fight had just wrapped up?
I was right there.
You know what kind of mood he was in when that...
He was livid. Yeah, he was livid. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I knew a lot of the responsibility fell on me, and I had to clean up the dining hall. And they asked my AIDS group, which would be CITs that year, it was not so unusual, to help me in cleaning up the dining hall. And none of them would clean up the dining hall. And I had to clean the whole dining hall and porch, and it wasn't until I was 2/3 of the way through cleaning the whole dining hall, I was 2/3 of the way through mopping the dining hall, and they came back. It's not a very nice story, but they came back to help me, a little bit too late. And so I was not in a great mood for that staff banquet, which I had to work. And I had 20 minutes by the time I ended up cleaning up that afternoon. I had about 20 minutes or a half hour before I had to be back for the staff banquet. And Don was irate through the whole thing.
Beat face red.
Oh,
Yeah.
exploding. He had somebody, too, that was running along the deck. Oh, my God, he got somebody good. Oh.
Okay, the compliment is, on the upside, was... I managed to avoid the mayhem. I just observed in awed amazement that this was transpiring. I was right at the Iroquois deck door just watching this go by. When it was all over, none other than Larry Andrews walks out himself, big black guy with white all over him. He looks at me and goes, "You know something? I've seen this in the movies for years. I've always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And now I've done it."
That is great.
He was a big smile on his face, but about the same time I see his smile, I saw Don's grimace.
Oh, man. That was a really a great year. That was Don's last year, and I think there was incredible spirit there, and a lot of very strong work, both done with campers, and the spirit of the staff was healthy enough and strong enough that they could have that kind of fight. And the immediate pickup was quite good. People really pitched in quite well. when it came to the final details, that was a little different. But people did clean up immediately, reasonably well, and there was just good cheer, and nobody. There were no tempers that day, and it was really quite a lot of fun, and quite an interesting set-off for Shelley, who liked his discipline and order, and yeah, you might say apple pie order.